So I realize a lot of you guys are from Destiny stream. We do appreciate you guys tuning in. Nonetheless, as you see from this overlay here, we are Hypercrew live at Twitter. If you guys tweet at us during this event, we'll check it periodically and just read them and probably announce them on stream. So be sure to find us on Twitter. We are active as you can be, Twitter and Facebook. Great stuff. Appreciate you guys tuning in. So I'm feeling at a bit of a disadvantage here as I am a Protoss player, so TVZ is not my specialty. Janitor is the Terran player amongst the two of us. So Xel'Naga Caverns, obviously a pretty balanced map here at Hypercrew, one of our favorite maps, one of my personal favorites, mostly because it has these beautiful natural chokes all over the place. We see that sort of nether fissure there causing these natural chokes in the ground, and that's what makes this map so interesting. And it seems to be kind of that perfect distance. You can rush, you can macro, you can do a fast expand and hold it off fairly easy. So, you know, with all that in mind, Janitor, do you think we're going to see another SCV all-in, or do you think we might see maybe one Rax fast expand from SiN? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, I was thinking we might see some more early pressure, but SiN really apologetic after that first game. I don't think we're going to see some kind of early pressure come out from him. And one thing I would like to note, Destiny sends out this scout very, very early, gets a lot of scouting intel with it, just kind of keeps it in the base. Probably going to go ahead and throw down an extractor. He's probably going to check for double racks and then throw down an extractor right away. But don't be surprised to see this one last a little bit longer. Destiny will have quite a bit more time to react to an all-in, and being able to hold those Xel'Naga caverns, or excuse me, those Xel'Naga towers in this map is going to make quite a bit of a difference.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to point out. One of the better parts of this map as well is the positioning of these Xel'Naga towers. If one player controls both of them, he really has good map vision, and especially from the Zerg perspective, if you have well-placed overlords, you can really gain a lot of map control. You know exactly what your opponent is doing. You can keep an eye out for those pesky drops in the mid to late game, and you can even keep an eye out for any sort of airplay as far as fast Banshees or even late Banshees that we've been seeing in an increasing frequency in these recent days. We do see Destiny here taking that fast expand as predicted by many of the viewers in chat, you know, and sort of pretty expected play there, and we see that 14 pool coming down as well. So far Destiny opening with a pretty standard style of play, and I'll be curious to see what he decides to tech into, if he sticks with that somewhat traditional Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk build, or if he tries something a little bit more unorthodox. And obviously a lot of that will depend on what our Terran player decides to do. We see him opening with that double Rax once again. So now that he's opened with this double Rax, Janitor, for those of us that aren't Terran experts, namely myself, how is he going to be able to transition out of this opener compared to last game where we saw this opener into an all-in?
Yeah, basically all he's going to do is going to sit back. You see no gas going down. He's just going to expo right out of this and feel pretty comfortable doing it. You know, he's got 2 racks to defend. You see Destiny throwing down those couple of spine crawlers. That's for pure defense, and I kind of like the placement from Destiny. It's pretty good. It's going to defend very well against any kind of Hellions that choose to push out. So what SiN's looking to do here is just put on some pressure with those early, or as much pressure as he can with those early Marines, force a few more Zerglings to pop out of those larvae, and then try and expand behind it.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to point out. We do see SiN expanding once again that command center, just about a third of the way done. So as you predicted, doing a very timely expand right after this 2 racks opener. And as you pointed out, he's just going to go ahead and put some pressure on here and try and force Destiny to waste some of that precious early larva on some more Zerglings instead of workers. He's going to force our Zerg player to, you know, play a little bit more precautionary and not get too greedy as far as working on that eco early on is concerned. And that's really a great play from our Terran player here. The worst thing you can do against a Zerg, especially one with the experience like Destiny here, is to let him sit back and get greedy. Let him sit back, just drone up, expand aggressively, and play that very defensive macro game, because against a good Zerg, you're probably going to lose that macro game. So I love this, at least what SiN tried to do there as far as put some pressure on and at least maybe force Destiny to make a few extra Zerglings than he would have liked to under ideal circumstances. But with these extra lings, it looks like Destiny is considering doing a little bit of a counterattack, so to speak, maybe putting a bit of pressure on. Obviously will be a little bit rough as SiN is completely walled off, but it could be rough for his fast expand, maybe able to get a couple of free worker kills here or there. Looking at the Army tab, very even early on, both players, as we pointed out, sort of working towards that macro style of play, both expanding. We see SiN dropping down another 3 barracks here into a 5 barracks style of play. Does have both of these refineries down. Meanwhile, in Destiny's base, we do see that pool up. His queens are up and running now. Still has 1 gas up, but not mining any gas at the moment. He does have metabolic boost finished, so that Zergling speed is complete, and he's going to be able to cruise around the map.
Yeah, he is. It looks like we have a few requests for the game sound. Destiny's Speedling is just now finishing. SiN has plenty of Marines to hold that off, though, as you see Destiny running away there. One thing I do want to point out about that early pressure, Destiny really made a lot of Zerglings there at the beginning. Actually sacrificed a queen to get quite a few of those Zerglings out. But I thought he might be going for some kind of Baneling bust early and try and win, but it looks like he's just going to pull back here.
That's exactly right. I did turn up the in-game sounds. Sorry about that. Skype does tend to mess with those in-game sounds a little bit, so hopefully that will be a little bit better for you guys and it's not too loud. Like I said, we do try to keep chat open, so feel free to keep us up to date with that kind of a thing. That's exactly what the chat is there for during these games. We see Destiny taking down these destructible rocks, probably looking to take a fast third in this timely little expansion here. Not a bad choice, at least taking down the rocks. And obviously that high yield is always the golden nugget here on Xel'Naga Caverns. One of the great things about this map is actually the positioning of these high yield mineral fields. Is they're in kind of an awkward position. They're pretty close to your opponent's base. They're very close to these Xel'Naga towers, and they can both be a little bit difficult to defend in the mid to late game. So one of the additional reasons why this map is particularly balanced, at least in my humble opinion. We do see Destiny getting that lair upgrade just about halfway done, so he's going to be able to move into whatever tech route he feels is appropriate, and we do see that Baneling nest coming down as well, so we may be shaping up for Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk style play. We do see that double evolution chamber, so Destiny is going to be able to go ahead and get those upgrades pretty aggressively. Meanwhile, in SiN's base, once again, 5 barracks here, 3 with reactors, 2 with tech labs, so a pretty nice mix. He's going to start pumping some of those marauders as well, and we do see a factory coming down just about completed, so he will be able to start moving into that tech route. Destiny here sort of in the lull of action, taking out these destructible rocks, and this is really a great play here. Instead of just letting his units sit in his base, one thing that SiN is doing here, and he's finally moving out, but just leaving those units idle in his base, and he could be out taking down rocks and sort of being more proactive as Destiny is doing here. So it is one thing our Zerg player is doing very well at this stage in the game. He's also spreading this creep very aggressively, which is exactly what we like to see. Hasn't connected his 2 bases, and there he goes, dropping it down with those overlords just as I say that. We're going to take a look at the harvester count here, and we see Destiny with a slight advantage, about 9 workers ahead of his opponent. So droning up very aggressively as well. As we pointed out early on, you really don't want to let your opponent, especially a Zerg opponent, just kind of sit back and drone up. It can work against you quite a bit. But we do see SiN putting some pressure on here. He has a huge army value advantage at the moment and a nice supply advantage as well. But we do see a lot of Banelings ready to roll in. Those centrifugal hooks not quite finished yet, just about a third of the way done. So Destiny is really not looking to engage here until he has that Baneling speed finished.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a mistake there from SiN. He had a really good window there pushing in. He has stim, took out quite a few of those creep tumors, and as we said, centrifugal hooks not quite finished yet. As soon as those centrifugal hooks get finished, it's going to be very, very hard for SiN to put on pressure with his heavy, heavy marine force.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He does have a few medevacs on the way, so we may try to do a 2-pronged attack, perhaps do a drop in the back of Destiny's base to catch him a little bit off guard, which could be successful. It looks like we may see this engagement here. Destiny is, going to go ahead and back up. Looks like he might have engaged a little bit prematurely there. Did lose a couple of Zerglings, nothing too serious. We do see Destiny taking that third, nice, timely third expansion, expanding pretty aggressively. SiN expanding pretty aggressively as well, actually. Does have this command center just about 2/3 of the way completed, so he is going to be in a great position. We see that pretty standard siege tank, marine style play, siege tech just beginning, and his first tank is on the way. But Destiny does have this infestation pit down. Where is it hiding? He does have it down somewhere. There it is, hiding behind his natural expansion. So we do see some infestors on the way. And I have to tell you, Janitor, I am a huge fan of infestor play. And that's not something we see that frequently in the Hypercrew, well, just events in general. I can't even remember the last time we saw infestors on the stream. So I'm very excited to see some fungal growth action in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be really effective, especially with those medevacs just stopping them in play. You saw that Spire go down as well, so probably a lot of Mutalisks on their way. Like you said, that Speedling, Baneling Muta is going to come out, but those Infestors just really help supplement that army. He does have Burrow finished, so that's going to be even more effective. He can even move him in for some harass if he wants to. That Fungal Growth is just so powerful.
Yeah, and mixed with Banelings, it is particularly deadly. Here we see some Baneling landmines, something I've seen Destiny do several times on his stream, and a great strategy using that Zergling to hold the zone.